Blog Talk Radio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Technical difficulties to start off the show. My name is Rick-riggin. This is Breaking Rank, live from the Balanced Sports Talk Radio Network studios.
I told you not to jinx this. I have no idea what happened, so we're just going to have to.
You okay there? It's my producer of this show, which I'm the producer of his, Balancing. That's tom-marquis from the Balance you hear every Saturday, and I know what it's like sometimes, man. It just does not want to cooperate.
Well, that's right. Good to be here. End of week one. Breaking rank.
Yeah.
See, Rick,
Strong
you jinxed it. You jinxed it before the show, my friend. Either which way. Good to be here. Go right ahead, sir. We'll recover. We'll rebound. It's good to go. Go.
Also joining us from 96.1 WSBT in Mishawaka, that is Notre Dame Properties, Matthew Embry. Matt, are you with us? No technical difficulties on your end, right?
No, and interesting how my intro
I blame Andy.
All right. I think we got it. I think everything's fixed. It took a mind of its own. I had everything on auto set, and then there was a delay, and then it just started firing. So we're good to go. Go ahead, Matt. You're on. You're live. Your mic is hot, sir.
Well, it's interesting to note a few things in there. I say biggest good performance would have to be Alabama beating a Louisville team, I think, that did not show their best stuff by putting 50 points on them. I'd say the big loser of the week, though, Rick, it's got to be Penn State. And I don't care that Appalachian State beat Michigan 10 years ago. I don't care that Penn State had flat. It doesn't matter. The fact that they had their problems against Appalachian State, who, by the way, is not the same Appalachian State strong team that beat Michigan 10 years ago, I got to say, if you're a Penn State fan, you have to be more than just a little bit worried right now.
I would be worried about that. I'd be worried about the state of the program after Saquon Barkley really at Penn State. I'd be worried about Michigan State in that game against Utah State. But I think Miami might challenge that biggest losers of the week with their performance against LSU.
And another one, thank you very much, Florida Atlantic, for making me look like a total fool. 63-14 against Oklahoma. Seriously?
I was
Lane, what was that?
Tom, who do you got for biggest loser?
Oh, biggest loser by far is Florida State Seminoles without Jimbo Fisher.
That's a good
Virginia
one too.
Tech Hokies did some schooling. So, yeah, they're the biggest loser, my vote. Go ahead.
So, Matt started off talking about, or you did actually, I don't remember which one of you two did. I still got the technical difficulty music stuck in my head. But anyway, Tua Tagovailoa and Alabama, and how they went against Louisville. I believe it was Matt that brought that up. You guys had Nintendo back in the day, right? You remember Contra? Is Tua Tagovailoa like having the Contra code, Matt, for Alabama?
I can't necessarily say that because in my younger years I could barely get past the first level.
The Contra code, those of you listening and you want some nostalgia, it's up, down, left, right, BA, start. Yeah, then it was infinite
even
lives.
with that I could barely get past the first level, so don't embarrass me here, Rick. That's not funny.
But what Alabama has struggled with over the years is just having average quarterback play. It's still being really dominant, because the rest of the team is just so talented and so deep. But just having the average quarterback play, now they have a Heisman, probably even Heisman front runner for the first time that Nick Saban's been at Alabama anyway. And I just think that is just totally unfair to the rest of the country. I don't know if we need to play the rest of the season, but I just feel like, Tom, that Tua Tagovailoa is the contra code for Alabama.
I totally agree, Rick. I do not know where the quarterback controversy came from. Was it, let's just keep talking about Alabama, because I don't think it was any big shocker that he was to end up being the starting quarterback. They no longer have a quarterback controversy, and I think the only quarterback controversy all along was Nick Saban's stubbornness and refusal to officially name him as the quarterback. But I don't think there were any earth-shattering news when that was realized this past week.
No, and I think the whole country pretty much knew who the quarterback was going to be after the national championship game, even the three of us on the balance in your show, Tom, that back to like a month ago we started to talk about college football. We were all saying it's going to be Tua. Everybody knows it's going to be Tua. And Matt, what do you think of Nick Saban's comments to Maria Taylor after the game?
Not impressed, but again, you have some coaches that really don't think much of the media. Nick Saban's one of them. Bill Belichick's one of them. So while it was out of character, I can't say I'm surprised by that comment either.
I think it's a really fair question. I mean, I understand being asked about the quarterback controversy. For the past month or so, leading all the way up to
timing of it was very bad, though.
Right, it was, and then Tom, she asked a pretty fair question: is what did you think about both quarterbacks' performances? Really, instead of trying to make him decide on one or the other. Did you hear his comment, Tom? Did you see any of that?
Well, I did not see it. I saw the tweets and the social media uproar, and I know that Nick Saban did apologize after his combative answer. I do know that was appropriate, but I did not hear the actual presser other than just highlights. So it seemed like a very legit question, but there again, I think Nick Saban is just one of those old school hard knock kind of guys that you just got to go in and be prepared for what you get, kind of like a Bill Belichick. You just got to be prepared for what you're going to get. Whether or not there's a win or loss, they're always going to be kind of the hard knock type of to have a presser with.
Right, and also we'll move on to the top 10 rankings here. I know there's a big shakeup in the whole top 25, but we'll really highlight the top 10 here. And no surprise, Alabama stays number 1 with the contra code at quarterback. Clemson 2, Georgia 3, Ohio State 4, Wisconsin 5, Oklahoma 6, Auburn 7. Notre Dame jumps into the top 10 at 8. Washington falls down a couple spots to 9, and Stanford makes their first appearance of the year in the top 10. So, Matt, is there any surprises within that top 10?
I think Notre Dame is a little bit high because I'm not sure. I mean, it wasn't a convincing win against Michigan. I mean, Michigan committed 4 turnovers in this ball game, and they still came within a stone's throw of winning it. So I don't think that merits necessarily a jump from 12 to 8, but that's just my opinion.
Matt, I will ask you about that close win because when I was watching it, it just seems like Brian Kelly might have just laid on the ball a little bit, and they played a little more bend but don't break style defense. Basically, don't make any mistakes, and we'll come out of here with the win. Is that what you got out of that, or just Michigan really stepped up their game and it threw Notre Dame off guard in the second half?
Notre Dame's offensive line just fell on their face, the second half of that ball game. I mean, Chase Winovich just kept getting to the quarterback, and that just pretty much ruined everything. So line play, I think right now is the chief concern in my book, looking ahead to, the games ahead right now and solidifying their offensive line play, because Eichenberg had some problems there late stopping Winovich. I mean, they were so focused on stopping Gary on the other side that Winovich just kept getting to the quarterback and really forced a couple early throws and probably led to that one interception that Brandon did throw. So if there's one area where Notre Dame needs to work, I'd say offensive line play and getting more protection for Brandon Wimbush so he's got more time to throw because, I mean, it was ridiculous how many times Winovich got there unabated to the quarterback. I mean, there was at least 4 or 5 plays I could remember, Rick, where he wasn't even touched and he got right to Brandon.
And Tom, of course, Michigan comes away with the loss. You know, I think a lot of people in the country had them to win that game, especially if you watch any College Game Day or listen to the experts leading up to that. And they just looked really flat with Shea Patterson. He actually looked a little bit scared at times during the games. He does have a nice arm. He makes some really nice throws. But is the quarterback position still a problem for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan?
I think there's a lot of problems with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I certainly touched on it last week and touched on the balance. It's time to put him on the hot seat. I understand that he's still kind of got some young players by definition, if you will. There's still a lot of players being acclimated. His quarterback is certainly not up to par. I wouldn't have confidence in him even being the starter, but there again, you got to go with what you got to go with. So Jim Harbaugh has got to turn this program around. You would think logically in your brain that they could beat Western Michigan next week, but certainly I think there's that line of thinking that I talked about last week that he could definitely, Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines could go 0-2. There's a very good possibility that Western Michigan could beat Michigan, and that's not going to be good for Jim Harbaugh.
And Matt,
thing is, though, Western Michigan's
ahead,
at the same level of Ball State is. So if you say that Michigan's in danger, I'd say Notre Dame's in danger. If you're comparing opponents right there, because, I mean, you're looking at the same level of opponent right there. Michigan will have no problems getting by the Bronx. Looking down the schedule, I think they still have a few red flags sitting out there. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, Western Michigan could be a problem. SMU could be a problem. The Nebraska game will be interesting, and then obviously Northwestern. But I don't think Western Michigan is going to be where the blow-up happens. But I think right now you look at the situation with Michigan right now, they have the pieces together. It's just, unfortunately, it's just a couple key things that are standing out and doing the business while there are a lot of big holes elsewhere. I mean, how do you give up first down conversions to Brandon Wimbush on 3rd and 10 3 times, 2 of which came in the second half, where Michigan stops them 3 and out? It could have been a whole different ball game.
Right.
Well, man, and Rick,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just going to add to what Matt said about, comparing Western Michigan and Ball State. I mean, Ball State is no chump of a football team, and let's face it, they've grown a lot over the last few years. But really, what I'm looking at, if you're looking at school size, or if you're looking at history of wins, or if you're looking at the caliber of teams of Notre Dame and Michigan, Notre Dame is by far a much higher caliber team this year, a much stronger team than Michigan is. And I think Ball State's a much better team than Western Michigan. So I think that Ball State absolutely can give Notre Dame a game. Now, don't misconstrue that with me saying that they'll win, but I think absolutely Ball State can hang with Notre Dame.
And Matt, I was just to add what you talked about, Tom, and really Ball State's problem was all the injuries they had last year. They only won 2 games. They were just destroyed by injuries, and now they got all those guys back. And I think they could score a lot of points, but at the same time, they've probably worked the entire summer for this game, because this is the only time they'll be in this kind of an environment against a team like this. So they're going to bring their A game. It's their Super Bowl for the year, really. So it would surprise me if Ball State was to give Notre Dame a game, but I think as the game goes, Notre Dame's just going to take over in that. It's the more experienced players. The talent is what's going to win Notre Dame this game. I mean, at 33.5 is what the spread is right now. I'm going to say that's going to be a little under. I don't think Notre Dame is going to win by that much. I mean, they might win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. But I don't think it's going to be 33.5.
I had to use the button, Rick, because I just saw this great tweet from Clemson. Texas A&M beat writer on 1055 The Roar just said the A&M fan base wants to see a great defense performance. Well, They about to get to that. So go right ahead. That had to be my breaking news thing. So we don't really have anything. So I thought that was a great hot take. So go right ahead.